Welcome to Naked Notes, where two chicks talk about notes while they're What? That's not what this podcast is about? Welcome to Naked Notes, where you will learn the honest, unfiltered, and naked truth about buying non-performing notes throughout the country. Whether you're brand new to this type of investing or have your own portfolio, let Naked Notes be your guide through the note world. Now, here are your hosts, Jasmine and Shelby.
Welcome to Naked Notes. I'm your host, Jasmine Wilwa.
And I am Shelby Reed. Welcome. We're obviously together and we're in California.
Yes.
I mean, this is our first time taping together. We just had an amazing day putting together some awesome content for the podcast.
Yes.
And I'm so excited. We thought it'd be a perfect time to do this special podcast for you guys.
Right. And why not just get involved and show you what we're doing when we're together? And we're trying to get this done before sunset also. So let's get going. And this episode is season 8, episode 5.
5, that's correct.
All right, good.
Yes.
We're doing well.
Yeah.
Look at us. And today's episode is going to be really, really profound. We're going to talk to you about our first notes. But of course, before we get into that, we're going to talk about our note-related moments. So where did you want to go with that?
So my note-related moment this week is going to be about the group that I'm buying notes with. We closed on it's a short-term bridge loan. So we closed on it last Friday, actually this week, just a couple days ago. So my note-related moment was that something different. It's not a typical loan. It's a 20-month bridge loan. So it's an asset out in Ohio, and it's a house, a residential home, but it's again, we've got only 20 months on the loan. So
that's good.
There's some different calculations.
Right.
And so to share with everybody, instead of calculating the yield, which is what I always calculate, I used an ROI calculation to try to get to understand what my return would be, because I couldn't run a yield on this because it's a short-term loan. So they're paying interest only on the 20 months. And then at the end of the 20 months, they're going to pay the lump sum of the principal back.
Right.
So I'll keep you guys posted on that, but I'm kind of excited about this one.
Yeah. What I love about that note is, like you said, it shows the ways you can diversify within notes within itself. And also, a lot of you guys are worried, I don't want to get my capital held up for like 30 years. Well, you don't have to. There are short-term options. That's where bridge loans come in. And she's showing you how to take advantage of those. So they'll be getting capital back. But also the sneaky thing about these things, in my opinion, is that when you buy one of these, you now have a new qualified borrower to continue to negotiate, because these guys are active investors. So they're always going to want loans. And
the borrower is
right.
Is an active investor.
So even though you're buying a short-term loan, whether you refi with them or whether they actually pay you off, you now have their numbers. Like, let me know when you need another loan, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's such a good point that I didn't even think to bring up, but you're right, and what's interesting too is these loan docs, it even says if they want to renew, they have a 2-year or 2-cycle option to renew the loan if we all agree to it, but there's already a written fee. I think it's 1 or 2% of the balance. So it's like, okay, well, that's cool. If they're paying their interest every month, which is, I think 9%, or I think it's like 8.99%, which I know is not like crazy amazing, but it's still pretty good. So
yeah. No, it's just another way to show you like what you can do when you really get involved and have the ability to be creative with the money that you have access to. So as you can see, she's a great value to any of you that are out there looking to deploy big money, because she's going to be able to explore different types of loans and debt for you to get involved. So that was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So Jasmine, what's your note-related moment today?
My note-related moment has a lot to do with this episode, which you're going to find is that you should really always buy more than one note. Okay.
Whoop, whoop. Lights are going off right now, everybody. This is a big one. We talked about this today. I'm so glad you brought it up, because it's something that it was a total light bulb for me today.
Yeah, so when you hear us talking about our first notes, understand that it's the first of many. If we were just obsessed with this one note, I started thinking about my note that I'm going to tell you guys about. Like, I've had it for Lord knows, close to 9 or more years. So imagine if this was the only note I was just waiting on, anticipating, and it went through different phases of profit and non-profitability back to profitability. So anyway, it's going to give you a real understanding of what the note business is like, and also, again, just reemphasize that this is a game where you want to position yourself to buy more than one. Otherwise, there's a few reasons why you shouldn't be here. We should probably do a podcast on that, like
Mhm,
reasons why you
totally.
shouldn't be involved with notes.
Oh, that's a good one.
But
Yeah.
bottom line is like, yeah, with this, it'll let you know if you're not here for the long term and wanting to duplicate, replicate, and do multiple notes, then you should probably pick a different investment, right?
I agree. So the takeaway from me from that was be ready to own a portfolio. Don't
Yeah.
be ready to just buy one note. Everyone wants to talk about one note, one
Yeah.
note, one note. Cool, but let's get a portfolio, and that's how you're really going to impact your life, both financially, and just I guess financially is
Yeah.
how you're going to impact it.
Right.
So
Basically.
let's
This
just
is
get
why we're
right
here.
to it.
All right, so let's get to we have a commercial from the Note Assistance Program, which is the company that we train with and train for. So if you can, we'll be right with you. Thank you very much.
Are you ready to build your legacy and work for yourself? NAP, the Note Assistance Program, is here to help you build your empire with mortgage note investing. Receive monthly inventory in your inbox. Get access to top-notch online training and participate in trusted transactions with vetted sellers and buyers. Join their community by visiting noteassistanceprogram.com now and register for one of their nationwide note labs or online training today.
All right, welcome back. We are going to get started with this episode. So the reason why we're here is to hear about Jasmine and I's first note purchase and note experience. So Jasmine, I'm loving that we're talking about this right now because I know earlier you told me some stories about that you actually are working through the tail end of this loan right now. So tell us about it. When did you first buy this note?
Yeah, if you can imagine, right? So I would say that I have successfully been with the company that I created for about 11 years, like since I brought my first note, right? And so this probably 9+ years. Never
That
mind.
you bought
probably,
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
not
get to
more.
the basics really quick. It's residential?
Yeah.
Was it performing or non-performing when you bought
It
it?
was non-performing.
Okay.
So I want to say the purchase date was around 2000, like 13, maybe
Okay.
2014,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
Okay, that's good enough. And so it was in Kansas City.
Yes, Kansas
Okay.
City, small little house about the size of, I don't know, maybe 1,100 square feet.
Okay, and you said it was performing.
Well, yeah,
Non-perform-
it was semi-performing.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
guy, the thing about it is that he didn't pay consistently. And
Okay.
there's two ways to look at loans, and here's a good way to think, right? There are people who pay late, but they pay 12 months out of the year. You're going to get your 12 payments.
Mhm,
There are people who may pay only 9 months every year because you're only getting 9 payments. And so that's what he was. You weren't getting your 12 payments come hell or high water at the end of the year. It was consistently you're getting about 9, and then you always had to carry them over. So
Okay.
it was kind of what we
Okay.
would call like a semi-performer.
Okay, so did you buy it at par or did you buy it at a discount?
Very, very discounted.
Okay.
I want to say around 50 cents on the dollar. It was a small note. I paid, I want to say around 6 grand for it.
Okay.
The UPB was little under 20.
Okay, so question 1, why did you buy the note? Other than we know it was your first one, what drew you to this specific note?
I just wanted to try it.
Okay.
I think that it was more about life circumstances. Like if I can take you back, like I feel like for those of you who are old and you know the Golden Girls, Sicily, picture this, 1842. So,
I'm
anyway,
bringing her back in.
yeah, I'm like, hey, way back in the day. So Kevin, my son, was about 3 years old. So I'm a new mom, and I just kept hearing about how when I was introduced to gentleman, how passive this could be, and really that was my new focus. So I was not one to be distracted with what I was doing. I was making money. But once I was looking future now, when you have children, so a lot of your moms can relate, you start thinking, oh my God, so what's going to happen when this kid is like 8? Like, what am I going to be doing? So that was where I was, right? And so I was thinking like, okay, what can I do less work and make more, if not similar money? So that's why I wanted to try the note. And I heard all these things about it through this fund manager that I was working with. So, and he was really pushing me to buy this note. He wanted to get rid of it. That's the other thing. So a little bit of suspect with a little bit of opportunity. Then I just grabbed it from him. And I just want to see what it was like. So I paid about 6-7 grand for this note. I think it was around 6,500.
So what was your plan with it from the beginning? Were you planning on
just to see what happened?
Working at so
just to make sure no one died.
Okay,
like,
so your plan was
to see no one got
maybe
arrested.
See how many experiences you could actually go through.
I was just like, now what? Like seriously, I didn't even know what to expect, right?
So you didn't really have a plan. You bought the note. and you're obviously going to have to work through it because it's non-performing, or I guess it was semi-performing. So what happened?
So I collected payments for like the first 4 years of it. The guy would like pay, and when I realized I did more digging,
so like 36 payments.
He was like a single dad. He had kids, and like he would like pay up until like Christmas holidays would come up, and then he'd catch up with his taxes. So it was like a pattern.
What a nice lender you were.
And yeah, like, what do you want from me? I'm not going to go after you for this house. I don't want a house in Kansas City. I can't even tell you where it is on the map. So I'm like, cool. So yeah, so I just let him pay and whatever. And then like about a year or two before the pandemic, he just stopped paying. And then a pandemic happened, so it was hard to get him out. This gentleman put me through the ups and downs like you would never believe. When I tell you he tried every trick in a book and they worked. So how did I get through this? Let's talk about that. One, first thing is that every time we tried to like go through, like it was a contract for deed. So basically he had paid close to 20% of it at this point.
Okay.
He only owed me like maybe $3,500. That's the best part of this, right?
Because you bought it for $6 or $7 grand.
Yeah.
So
over the time and that he paid, he only owed me like $3,500.
Mhm.
But it's my $3,500. Or now I can get this house. The house had not appreciated that much. Maybe it's worth $80,000.
Mhm. Okay.
But do the math, right? So that's why I was in it. When I think of the asymmetrical risk, I'm really a component of that. Like if I'm going to do 6
Absolutely.
for something that's worth 80,
Absolutely.
yeah,
that's hard
why
to get
not?
upside down on.
right? You got to do a lot of messing
Let's
up.
buy some more notes like that, Jasmine.
So I grabbed this thing, and yeah, so he owes me about $3,500, and now I've got to go in on the foreclosure part because now he's just not paying. Probably his kids are out of the house, doesn't care to pay. And what I learned in the end is he's just kind of riding this thing out. So at the end of the day, that's where I am now, where I feel he's riding it out. But through that course, I had to do so many different things. So one, because he had 20%, the lawyers thought the best thing for us to do was to actually do a foreclosure, not just cancel the contract. So we had to pay him to go through the foreclosure. And as he started going through the foreclosure, we went to go see a judge, and the judge kept buying his story. So I always call it the country western story. But because of the fact that it was 20%, we had to go see a judge to get this legal.
Okay, so you hired a lawyer out of Kansas City.
A local guy.
Okay.
And this is the best thing for us to do it right.
Okay.
So we ended up going through the foreclosure process. But every time we got close to foreclosure, he'd show up to court. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I can't get out now. Oh,
so he was showing up. He
would never show up until court time came, and all of a sudden he's here and we have someone. So what's interesting about notes is that one, they're not worth anything unless you have someone on the other side, right? They're just really worth the underlying asset. But once someone is involved, it could be good or bad, right? And so in this case, if he would have just disappeared, that'd have been great. But now he's showing up. So the judge is like, we can't just kick someone out without hearing his story. And so he went from everything to I'm sick to like, I'm getting a job, so I'm going to pay you if you can just wait. So we're like, we waited this long. Why not? Nothing happened. To wait, I'm in the military. You can't just kick me out. So we stop everything, go do the research, find out he's not in the military. It was great.
Goodness.
So we pulled everything. And so finally, we were like, we're going to go see another attorney. We got another attorney with another judge and canceled the contract. We were like, we can't just keep going back and forth with him. And so we actually got another attorney.
So is he responding to you during this time, or he would not respond to you at all? Like would you send a
letter? Wouldn't respond to us. He just showed up in court.
Okay.
One time with a wheelchair, neck brace, COVID, everything down the line. He's showing up, a military badge, the whole stuff. So anyway, so now we're into this. I mean, this process is over about a 2-year period that we're actively trying to get him out.
COVID, you probably couldn't even get
that's attributed to, right?
Yeah.
But then he just started running out of excuses. So now about 2 years till us getting possession of the property, which we have as of a week ago of this podcast.
Awesome. Congrats.
But yeah, we want to be compassionate about it. We have something that we practice here, compassionate foreclosures. It's actually a thing. And so I've only had like 3 times in my entire career where I had to do an eviction. So this guy kind of rides it out. His kids are gone. And so, yeah, we get down to the sheriff coming out. We come down to the sheriff's auction. And so I have a local Nap Nation member, because we're everywhere. We're literally nationwide. And so I have a local Nap Nation go, hey, I'll go to the sheriff's auction and because I want to see what it's like, and not auction, but eviction. I want to see what it's like. And I also want to, I'll be there to help you. So I was like, great, because you have to have someone representing you. And so just to backtrack, the key to this was we took this to another attorney, to another judge who got the judge to cancel the contract.
Interesting.
So now when we go back to the same judge that's hearing his story, it's like, bottom line, he's a squatter.
Yeah.
There's not even a contract anymore.
You had to go to a different judge and a different attorney to get what you wanted.
To get the contract eliminated. So now when we talk to him, it's like, listen, I don't even know what we're going back and forth. He's just a squatter. There's no contract anymore. Like it's been extinguished. something that wouldn't have happened to the other judge. So it's really creative what we ended up doing.
Yeah.
So we got the contract extinguished, and now he's technically a squatter.
How did you even know to do that?
It's just you
figured
don't
out.
give it up. And then we had, and it's really the attorneys. When the attorneys call me, I'm like, this should be simple, and it's not. It's like, well, what are we gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
I call it, without getting into politics, I call it my Donald Trump thing. It was like, well, what are we gonna do now that we're all in trouble? That's what I loved about him. What are we gonna do? So I do that with my attorneys. Like, what are we gonna do? So they started coming with more creative things. So we got that done. Got past the military thing. Now everyone's kind of understanding what's happening. The funny thing is, about 2 days before the actual foreclosure sale date, we sent someone to do pictures, and he literally has, and it's right before winter, so he has a barbecue outside, a whole setup. I was like, this man is not planning on going anywhere. So yeah, it was great. It was good times.
Okay, so you've owned it as of a week ago.
Mhm.
So what's your plan now, or what did you? So let's just get a little detail here. How did you find out you actually owned it? Were you awarded it
we
from
had it was a contract for these. So once you cancel the contract, it was still on our name. So we had possession of it. Now we just had a
You had to
squatter
get them
inside of it.
out. So you got them out using a sheriff.
Do the sheriff. So we had the
Okay.
sheriff thing, which is
Okay.
where
Okay.
our guy helped us. So if
Okay.
you guys are familiar with Smitty, shout out to Smitty out there.
Woo!
That's our guy out there in that area. So he was out there. He represented us and got it done. Took pictures and videos for us. And so once we
Okay.
got the property back,
So you
they
just
were
got your
still
squatter
there.
out. Yeah.
And the police were there, and it was funny because that is the day they decide to have a U-Haul. Now, they know they've been going through this and have not paid for years. Today, the day the sheriff is, they want to have a U-Haul, and they're like, hey, can we have more time to, and I'm just like, no, there's no more time.
You've been nice.
And
long
it's just
enough.
you and your wife, who he's claiming is pregnant. So we're not doing this. You're trying to set me up for like a
Mhm.
lawsuit. Can I have more time to get me and my pregnant wife to take
Yeah.
everything out of here? No.
So once you got them out, now you have to secure the property.
So we secured the property, check.
Okay.
Exactly.
How
So
do you
they're
do
gone.
that?
We use one of our favorite vendors, SPG now, so you
Okay,
can check them out.
love
We have
them,
them on
yes.
a podcast, but yeah, wonderful people. They were out there
Yes.
immediately, helped us secure the property.
Perfect. Okay.
And now I'm actually fending calls to buy the property, so we can still profit from it. So what's interesting about this is first 4 years of the note, very profitable, double-digit returns, 20+ percent return with the cash flow of my, they paid us down half the principal.
What was your monthly?
It wasn't a
payment?
lot. It was a little about $250.
Okay.
Okay, but based on what we
Yeah.
paid.
$6
So
grand.
we got that. We end up paying about half our balance, and then we still got the house with $3,500 owed. Right. Here's the crazy part. Again, not all just roses. So obviously that was up and down. We profited. As of now, if we just walked away from this, we take a loss.
Well, yeah, because you haven't probably you haven't been
We
receiving
haven't received any money
checks.
for a
Yeah.
while. He still owed us $3,500, and we've been paying the taxes, maintaining
But
the
what's
note.
the ARV now?
It hasn't
Or, I
appreciated
guess
much.
so maybe like $80,000.
80 to 100 depends.
Okay. As it sits.
No, after repair.
Okay.
Because this is more of a
Okay.
rental market. So after getting
Okay.
someone down, I realized it was more of a rental market.
Okay.
So it's probably, if it's in decent condition, we get around 50 for it.
Okay.
But oh no. Oh no. It was not a decent condition. So let's talk about how this man and this lady were living in this property with no electricity and no water. We don't know for how long.
That is insane.
So this is why I feel like doing what we do is the right thing to do, because they would continue to get there thinking they're getting away with something, and it's really hazardous. They were
Mhm.
sitting water in the basement.
Not good.
It's not
Especially if that
appropriate
lady
for you
was
to-
really was pregnant.
Right. Secondly, they were using generators in the house. If we hadn't learned anything from the
Yeah.
past, but that's how you die. Wake up next day and get a call that people die in the house. So I'm glad that we were able to get them out so they can choose other alternatives. A lot of people don't understand. I mean, I do with my background, that it's important to give them the opportunity to, rise from the ashes, as they say,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
But you've got to get out of them. You can't just be sitting
Absolutely.
there. So I feel like really good that we got them out of those conditions. Wherever they go from now, it's going to be better. It has to be better.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got it, the property, and now
Fielding
you
calls.
basically have it for sale. Did you list it with an agent?
Not yet, but we don't really need to. There's a lot of active people, so I have a few people within the community who want to put offers
Okay.
on it.
Okay.
And I have a few text messages from people who are, actively bird dogging, trying to get it.
Okay.
The problem, the last thing I'll let you know is that, again, because they were there without electricity, water, you need standing water in the basement. I need you to understand the visuals. The chimney was
Mhm.
literally separating itself from the house.
Mhm.
This place is definitely not in a
It's not
$50,000 as is. So we have to see what we can get for it. But you know my numbers now. So let's talk about
Yeah.
it. I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
make money no matter what I sell it for. But we're looking to get what we can for the asset.
Absolutely. But I would think you could sell it for at least $10,000.
Oh yeah,
I mean, right.
between anything
I mean,
north of certain numbers are going to make us good money.
Right.
And it was my first note. So let's recap. Like,
right.
for me, it's what got me started into this. If it wasn't for that note, I wouldn't be 10 years into a career like this. It wasn't my only note.
It goes to your note related moment. Like,
Yeah.
thank goodness that wasn't the only note you bought, you know, because now you are 10, I guess 9 years later.
Yeah.
You bought it.
Which is
or eight, whatever the math is, 7-8 years later, and you have amassed a lot, I should say a lot more loans, larger portfolios. Yes.
Opportunities, just the whole nine.
Yeah. So, you know, that even if you broke even on that note, because you're not going to really probably lose money on it, I don't think.
That would be a rare thing.
Yeah.
But even if we broke even on the thing, like,
I think it'd be worth it. Yes. 100%.
Like, that note
100%.
got me here.
Yes. And I think that is why her note related moment was so like struck home with me, was that, you know, just that one note isn't gonna did not change her financially, and it still isn't going to, but it's everything else, and that's that momentum that got you going.
Yeah.
And that's I'll kind of transition that into my note, because I think my note is actually, first note is very similar to yours. Okay. Actually, it was $6,000 and it was $250 a month. I still own it. They pay sometimes I don't pay, but sometimes I get a check, sometimes I don't.
Right.
But I don't think about it. Mm-hmm. So when I do get the check in the mail, it's like, okay, cool. You know, I got a check. And most of the time it's for a couple months in arrears, because they'll owe more than just the current month.
Decent size.
So it might be like $500.
Yeah.
But, you know, but my point of that is that I was nervous about buying a note. My background was in hard assets.
So let's talk about it from the beginning. So
yes.
First you heard about notes, and then how did you get from like just hearing about notes to buying a note? Obviously you've joined the program, but.
Yeah. So I heard about notes because I had a rental portfolio. We had about 20 plus units of our own, and I was self-managing them, and it was just a lot of work. And I was learning from actually someone else how I could change those into seller financed deals. So I could go to my tenants, sell them the property as seller financing, create my own note, and it was just going to open up this whole world to me as a lender versus a landlord.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'm going to do this. And so I started shopping around, learning more about it. And I was talking to people. I ended up talking to Russ at Call the Underwriter.
Right.
He was the one that said, okay, cool, you're doing this. You got to check out this podcast that Jasmine does. She has an awesome podcast. Check it out. And so I started checking it out and started talking to her group. And it took me a while to really understand what she was even doing. Because again, where I was coming from was I owned a home and I wanted to create a loan. But what they were trying to tell me and teach me was that you don't even need to buy the home, like just buy the loan.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. So that's such an important leap, right?
Yeah.
It's like, one, you come from a stance and a background where you do know a lot. You had long standing experience with actual real estate.
Correct.
Right? And it actually contributed to your success here. But there was still this mental hurdle that you had to get over and understand, like,
correct,
that I can do this without actually taking possession of a physical asset. And that's understandable, because we are all living in a real world. Paper requires you to come, right?
Oh, 100%. And I'm still considering myself a kind of a newbie. I mean, we have bought 25 loans now since this one with the group that I'm purchasing with. So, you know, I feel good about that. But I still, like, even on the last trade, it was $203,000 loan.
Oh, right.
And it was like, cool, you know, like, this is awesome. But like, oh, are you sure? Like, what did I do? You know, and are you sure this person's gonna, you know, like, is this real? But it is real. As long as you do your due diligence, understand what you have the right paperwork to support it. But so anyway, I jumped into Jasmine's program and finally was like, okay, I'm on board. I understand what you guys are trying to tell me.
And you even said for a minute, which I think a lot of you can relate. If you're following us online, you might be like, I don't know what they're doing. It just sounds exciting, because it's kind of elusive, right? We're not like laying out, this is what we're doing. And the more and more time passes, you're getting more access to what we do. But otherwise, if you just pop in to what we're posting, you're like, she just made money. She just saved a home. She just kept someone in their house. What's happening?
It took me a while to understand what you were even talking about.
Right. So you got there. Podcast helped.
So finally, podcast helped me figure that out. Start from season 1. FYI, if you're new to the podcast, it'll be awesome. So finally, I kind of probably sat for maybe a couple months, like just I was busy and I couldn't just jump into it. I was actually consolidating, selling our rental portfolio
right,
because
yeah.
I was just needing to get out of that, and wanted to use those funds to then dump them into notes and was just waiting for the right time. But then this little note came up and it was actually it's in Illinois. I'm from St. Louis. And at the time I lived in St. Louis. So I felt comfortable because I could actually drive there. It was in Granite City.
Yeah.
So I could drive over there and actually get in my car and see it. And let me tell you, it's not much to be seen at this house. No, it sounds kind of bad, but it's not. But
it's where someone's living in it.
Someone's living in it. It was a nice little neighborhood. And, they have a loan. They had a agreement to pay, it was $250 a month. And actually it was also $6,000. I don't know if I said that. So I was like, okay, if I spend $6,000 on this, like I remember exactly where I was, when I made the decision to do it.
Right.
And I was like, if I totally lose the $6,000, so what? Like, it's fine.
Right.
And I was fortunate enough to say that and have the ability to do that. And so I pulled the trigger, bought it, and now I'm here,
So like important points for me is like, one, she didn't have to like mortgage her house, or like people think, oh, I have to have, $250,000 in here to buy my first note because notes are expensive. Not all. Right. And that's kind of why I feel excited about doing what we do, is because we give life to people who just need a small loan to live in this house. It's not much, but it's a lot to them. And $250 a month, it's like, that turned into more of an experience in a lifetime for us. So it's worth more than that $250. And to give her an opportunity to have a home. I mean, not many people are giving out 2 loans with $250 a month payments. Who wants that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think the important thing is now it just got me in the game to be able to understand a little bit. It forced me to get into Trello. It forced me to reach out to reps.
It's like a trainer note.
Yes.
Like our trainer notes, like training wheels. So
yes, it was my training wheel note.
Yeah.
And I still have it, and I'm probably, I still need to work on it a little bit. But I kind of don't want to get rid of it because it's something that I'm using to teach me a little bit as
and
I
it's
go
still performing, so you're getting checks. You can't be upset at that.
Yeah, no, I can't. And again, it was $6,000. I have not broke even yet, but I'm not. Again, I think I'm at halfway. I'm at $3,000.
Right. So she's at the point where it's like 35. So we'll see how this goes. She'll keep us posted.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. So that's my first note. But I think the biggest takeaway is just that it's just a small note, and just like Jasmine says, a small note, but I'm nowhere near where my goals are. I know Jasmine's closer, but
I'll just say small note, but massive like experience and opportunity. So
yes.
I think that's what I want you guys to remember, is that you don't always have to have all the money to get all the experience and all the opportunity. And you don't necessarily need to use all the money if you have it, right? So don't be so quick to spend $70,000 on a program. The more expensive program is not necessarily it. The more expensive note is may not really need to be right now. Get your feet wet, especially in something this complex, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And feel comfortable. Like, you have to feel confident. Wait till it's your right time, and make sure you're with the right group and the right seller and the right person that can help walk you through it.
I want to say shout out, most importantly, as we wrap this up, to the community, right? Because this is a place where she got to feel comfortable. How long did it take you to do that, to pull your foot?
It was a year.
So this is a place where she did to feel comfortable to find a note that matched her fear level, if you will, and also feel comfortable just to float around and get to know. And she was really active in the meantime, like staying in touch with the community and watching other people. And I feel like that gave you some encouragement, and so did the community. So shout out to community, which I feel is equally as important to the inventory.
Absolutely, for sure. So I hope this helped, just a little bit inspire anyone out there.
Where is that? So that's good.
The next one we won't again, but we should shoot just like a bunch of podcasts while we're together.
I know. We'll get into that.
But the sound's going down, so we have to stop. But thank you guys all so much for tuning in, and be sure to check us out on our website, nakednotespodcast.com, and all the regular places that you follow your podcast. We appreciate any reviews that you leave to, or any comments you have, or feedback.
Yes. And we're on social media like Facebook and LinkedIn, so we'll see you there.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining Naked Notes. Jasmine and Shelby are not attorneys, and this podcast is intended for educational purposes only. For more information about how to work with the Note Assistance Program, please go to www.noteassistanceprogram.com to get details of the programs they offer to help you get started in notes. You can also find them on Facebook at Note Assistance Program. Be sure to also check out their meetup.com page for monthly lunch and learns, note labs, and other events. Make sure to check back regularly for new episodes and let Naked Notes be your trusted partner on your note journey.